This is it here. He didn't hit the target, and we were sitting in the green room talking about, you know, what a key player he would be if he scored more frequently. And Andy Harper actually mentioned it in commentary as well. And then he bobs up with a hat trick. This being the first of them, which was a great set piece, but this was a very good finish as well. The Wanderers did well to get back in, and I think the character that they did show is, I guess, the week off has actually helped them. I think Brisbane have probably suffered from the character that they've had to dig into in the weeks gone by, because they've come back from a lot. They've come back from behind a lot, especially last week against Victory when they didn't play well. And when you're 3-0 up, you really shouldn't lose a game of this importance. And they've gone behind and still managed to stay alive. But how did they deep to do that? And you could see in the last 5 minutes, they were gone. They were completely gone. You could tell by John Aloisi's face when there was a couple of close-ups as well. But look, the Wanderers in Adelaide next week is going to be a cracking match, because there's nothing between them this season by the 3 draws.
3 draws, exactly. Look, for me, I was back last week. This week they threatened to do it, but to do it 2 weeks in a row is just too difficult.
It was a taste of what is to come in that grand final next Sunday. We're looking at the goals now. Yes, it was a little bit shaky from those defensive mistakes from the Wanderers early on.
Look, big matches, there's big pressure, OK? And I always talk about men and moments in big games. And sometimes it can go one way or the other. Well, the men and moments, especially for Wanderers at the start, was disastrous. 3 mistakes after they started off really, really well. And like John Cosmina just said, that when you're 3-0 up, you know, you don't expect to lose. I don't know any footballer in the world who would expect to lose when they're 3-0 up. And that's when you have to give massive credit to the Wanderers. You heard ROMEO CASTELEN said they believe in the way that they play, they believe in themselves, and also having that home crowd is like having a 12th man advantage. And that is so big for them. And what a way for them to say goodbye to Perth Stadium as well.
Because as well, despite the fact that they were 3 goals down, you still got the feeling, I mean, it was 23 minutes, but you still got the feeling that the Wanderers had the better shade of the play. They were definitely not out of it at all.
Look, it was 3-0 after 23 minutes. You've still got more than two-thirds of the game left. I mean, it's like scoring in the first minute. You know, you don't really want to, because you've still got to fight for the rest of it, and there's plenty of time for them to get back in. And it showed they had not only the character to do it, but they had the wherewithal. They had the football in them to play themselves back into the game. And to be honest, they weren't really out of it. If you look at Brisbane's first 2 goals, there was an element of not even mistakes, but just misfortune. You know, ANDREU's handball, now you could say, why did he have his hand up? And then, you know, he's turned his back on that set piece that came in, and if it hit him like a centimetre further to the right, it would have gone away. So it's just how things pan out. You know, Jamie McLaren's goal wasn't clean either. It took a little deflection off of...
his first one.
Big
deflection off
Aguilar.
Isn't it amazing also when you get, you know, they're 3-0 up and you take the foot off the pedal that little bit, 3-1, they're probably still thinking, OK, they've got 1 back, we're still comfortable. Then it goes 3-2. And once that momentum changes, it's very, very difficult to get it back.
Yeah, it is. I'll ask you a quick question as well about Mitch Nichols. Saw him come off there in extra time. If he has to miss the grand final, because how big of a miss is that, Rob?
That's a massive blow, because he was crucial in that comeback. There was no doubt about it. He wasn't there, obviously, for the last goal, but yeah, that would be a big blow, Cosy.
Well, he worked as hard.
It'd be Dario that replaces him if he doesn't make it, you would think.
Yeah, no, I can't see... Well, it won't be Shannon Cole, for sure, but no, it will be Dario. But it's that number 10 role that is so important, and you probably look at Mark Bridge might have to drop back into that, which he's done. Yeah, which he's done so often this season, and Dario will play wider, which he's good at. He is good at that, but look...
Looking at Mitch Nichols here, though, I don't think his injury's that bad. I think he feels pretty confident.
He talked, you know, it was a thigh injury, which you don't really tend to cramp all that often in the thigh. He might have had a little, just a slight tear, which you tear lots of little tears in a game like this in any game. And I think he'll recover quite well. And look, they've got a week to get over it as well. And he's in good nick because, to be honest, if you have a look at how hard Mitch Nichols worked tonight, he's never really been at this level of fitness in his entire career pre-coming to the Wanderers and Tony Popovich.
You've got to say as well, it shows how much squad depth they do have, that they can bring Shannon Cole on, SENTALAB's off, Mitch Nichols goes off, and VIDOSIC comes on and scores the winner.
Yeah, well, it is a squad game, we know that. You know, look, great teams in the past have always had a very strong spine. There's always been half a dozen players at least who pretty much are a core of that side who start week in, week out. But as you get towards the latter stages of the season, the squad